Good evening and welcome to News Watch this Monday, the 15th of November 2021. Thank you so much for joining us for the latest news making headlines in the country. My name is Tony Omondi and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Let's begin with our top stories tonight. Now, Football Kenya Federation FKF President Nick Mwendwa has been granted a bond of 7 million shillings or a cash bail of 4 million shillings pending the prosecution's request to have him detained for a further 14 days. Mwendwa was arrested on Friday over alleged graft and taken to the DCI headquarters where he was questioned on how FKF spent 430 million shillings advanced to FKF by the Ministry of Sports for running football activities. As Kennedy Kimani now reports, Nick Mwendwa has been barred from accessing the FKF offices and banned from attending any football-related activities until Wednesday when the ruling will be delivered.
The embattled Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa has been granted a bond of 7 million and a cash bail of 4 million and further barred from accessing the FKF offices pending a ruling on Wednesday. Mwendwa was arrested on Friday over alleged graft and taken to the DCI headquarters where he was grilled on the 244 million shillings extended to the Federation to prepare Harambee Stars for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, as well as how FKF spent 430 million shillings advanced to FKF from 2016 by the Ministry of Sports. The police had earlier sought orders to detain Mwendwa for 2 weeks to complete investigations, saying that he is likely to interfere with the probe. The Confederation of African Football has supported FIFA's position, which asked the Kenya government to reinstate Nick Mwendwa and all the suspended officials. In the statement dated 14th November 2021, CAF said that it will avail itself to meet relevant stakeholders in Kenya to discuss solutions to the current impasse in this regard. However, CAF has said that it will not make any further comments until they have full understanding of the entire picture. Nick Mwendwa will not have access to his office, the building that houses FKF offices, and all the workers of FKF. Mwendwa has however been banned from addressing the media and attending any football-related activities until on Wednesday when the ruling will be delivered. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch, Nairobi.
Now, acting Nairobi Governor Anne Kananu Mwenda is set to be sworn in as the city's next governor on Tuesday at 10 a.m. After months of waiting and court battles, Kananu will be the third governor of Nairobi after the judiciary cleared all the hurdles that prevented her from assuming the office left vacant by Mike Mbuvi Sonko, who was impeached by the County Assembly. In a Gazette notice, the Assumption of Office Committee on Monday said the swearing-in ceremony will take place at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC. Preparations are almost complete, with tents being erected at the venue, even as the list of guests who will attend the ceremony remained vague. The swearing-in of Kananu comes after the court dismissed an appeal by former Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko that sought to stop Kananu from ascending to power. Supreme Court judges noted that with the absence of a judgment of the Court of Appeal, the application by Sonko was premature and did not meet constitutional threshold. Meanwhile, as international soccer bodies call for the reinstatement of FKF President Nick Mwendwa, football stakeholders from the coast region have welcomed the disbandment of FKF. The stakeholders on Sunday lauded Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed for the move, saying that the move will bring sanity into the football arena. Toha Mbarak, who unsuccessfully vied for the position of FKF President, said the investigations on the mess in Kenyan football should be extended to the county level.
Tunapenda kumpongeza waziri wetu Ambassador Amina Mohamed kwa kazi kubwa aliyoifanya ambayo ni kuivunja FKF na isiweze kuendeleza uongozi wake na ikapeana mamlaka kwa caretaker committee. Kwa hiyo sisi kama pwani nzima tunampongeza Mama Amina na tuko nyuma yake na tutamuunga mkono kwa yale yote anayoyafanya kwa sababu ana nia nzuri ya kuleta mpira uwe vizuri na kuendeleza mustakbal wa vijana wetu. Halikadhalika pia kongamano la leo tunapenda kutoa pongezi kwa msajili wa michezo Mama Rose Wasike kwa kusimama kidete ili kuona kwamba sheria za michezo zinafuatwa kikamilifu.
Kwanza napenda kumshukuru waziri wetu wa michezo Ambassador Amina Mohamed ambao amechukua ya kuleta sanity katika mpira wetu ili kuweza kuweka ile mikakati na sheria ambayo itaweza kuchukuliwa. Kwa sababu vile tunaongea, nafikiri kandanda yetu imekuwa ni headlines za Kenya na dunia. Kwa sababu ukisikia rais wa kandanda ameshikwa, so unajua kwamba hizo waandishi wa habari wote dunia nzima wamepata hizo habari. Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema kwamba mambo mengi ambayo tulikuwa tunataka kueleza, chairman wangu wa county ya Mombasa Bwana Goshi ameyaeleza, ambao ndio kitu muhimu. Hii safari hatukuanza leo, ilikuwa safari ndefu na ngumu sana.
Moving on, 6 suspects, including 2 senior Homabay County Assembly officials, have been arrested over an 85 million shilling graft case. 2 firms, Nyangume Enterprises and Damila Enterprises Limited, allegedly received huge payments despite not delivering any goods or services to the county. The 6 will be arraigned in court on Tuesday, 16th November 2021, to answer to the charges. Grace Ongoi has more on this.
2 senior Homabay County Assembly officers are among 6 suspects who are in police custody after the arrest following an 85 million fraud case. The 2, Caroline Chepkemoi Sang, who is the Chief Finance Officer in the Homabay County Assembly, and Maurice Odiwar Amek, who is the Senior Accounts Controller in the Homabay County Assembly, were arrested alongside Otieno Bob Kefas, who is the former clerk of the County Assembly of Homabay, Evelyn Awino Ogutu, trading as Nyangume Enterprises, David Obonyo Mireri, trading as Damila Enterprises, and Lillian Achieng, trading as Damila Enterprises, will be arraigned in court on Tuesday, 16th November 2021. Investigations conducted by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, reveal that the suspected companies involved in the fraud are Nyangume Enterprises Limited, owned by the former clerk of the County Assembly, Otieno Bob Kefas, and Damila Enterprises Limited, owned by the former Equity Bank branch manager, David Obonyo. The investigations further indicate that Nyangume Enterprises Limited received a sum of 26.3 million shillings, while Damila Enterprises Limited received 46.5 million, despite not delivering any service or goods to the county. At the same time, Lillian Achieng Alo, the wife of the Equity Bank branch manager, received 12.4 million shillings as salary, yet she was not employed by the county. In a statement issued on Monday, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission CEO, Twalib Mbarak, revealed how part of the money from the 2 firms was distributed. The County Assembly clerk received 24.2 million shillings and 750,000 shillings from Damila and Nyangume respectively. Chief Finance Officer Caroline Sang and Senior Accounts Controller Maurice Amek pocketed 3.95 million shillings and 5 million shillings each from Damila Enterprises as benefits. The suspects will be charged with conspiracy to commit an economic crime, abuse of office, unlawful acquisition of public property, dealing with suspect property, stealing, and money laundering. Grace Sangoi for Hope TV News Watch.
Online drivers and the Partners Association of Kenya now want the government to regulate the industry, saying that the business model is not balanced. The online drivers say that the commissions charged by the companies are exploitative, noting that unhealthy competition between apps has led to price undercutting, which is affecting them. They're now calling for better customer identification mechanisms, quicker response in times of emergency, and a more equitable pay.
There's no need of us drivers working for 24 hours. Let us work for 8 hours and we earn our due. Vile umesikia sisi, we are not stealing, we are not beggars, we don't go to the street to beg. Tumetoa magari zetu, we have invested in them. Some here own very big cars, Noah's, the Alphard, Kubwa, but they are not getting out of it. Siku kidogo, hata siku hizi you can't even buy a tire.
We will not sit down. We let our driver to die because of overworking, looking for money. We will not sit down again. We look our drivers, auctioneer coming for their vehicles because they cannot pay their own. We will not sit down again as our leaders in this online sector and wait and see families being wakiachana ama wakitengana juu the father cannot be in a position to feed his family. Hatutakaa chini tena tukiangalia hao madriver wakiumia.
We would like to push the government that we have labor laws in Kenya that are workable and that should apply to every company in this country. We don't want a case whereby an international company comes from whichever country they come from and they operate from the laws according to their countries.
When investors come here, we are going on to almost very soon 60 years of independence. For how long shall we continue being exploited? Businesses are driven by the small traders. Na hakuna haja ya kusema ya kwamba wewe unamjari mama mboga, unamjari mtu wa drivers online, kama hujiulizi anapata nini mwisho wa siku after 12 hours of hard work ama at the end of the month.
Online drivers have become a very important part of the daily lives of thousands of Kenyans, and indeed it is only fair that they are able to work in safe conditions and that they are able to earn a fair pay for the service they provide to us on a daily basis.
Let's get to some politics now. Orange Democratic Movement, ODM party leader Raila Odinga has pledged to revive the tourism sector, strengthen the blue economy, and tackle the squatter menace in the coastal region. Speaking during a rally to popularize his Azimio la Umoja initiative in Malindi town, Odinga said tourism and the blue economy were the region's economic mainstay and said he will focus on their revival should he be elected president in 2022. At the same time, Deputy President William Ruto took his hustler campaigns to Meru County, where he said his administration will ensure that it radically reconfigures the country's financial system to make it more friendly to small traders to flourish. Alice Dan has this report.
ODM party leader Raila Odinga continued with his coastal tour for the second day on Monday, where he pitched camp in Kilifi County to drum up support for his Azimio la Umoja initiative. Addressing the residents in Malindi, Raila said his administration will revive the tourism sector by first upgrading the Malindi airport to international status to enable it accommodate direct flights from Europe, Kenya's main tourism market.
Sisi tunataka kukuza biashara ya utalii. Vile kupanua kiwanja ya Malindi iwe international airport. Ile ndege kubwa naweza kutoka Ulaya, Marekani na kuja moja kwa moja kutambulia. Mimi najua kuna watu walihamishwa pale kiwanjani. Bila waje nafasi kiwanja ipanuliwe.
The former Prime Minister said he will strive to promote the micro, small and medium enterprises as well as the manufacturing sector to grow the economy and ensure Kenyans do not remain poor. On land injustices, Odinga criticized tycoons for allegedly bribing judicial officers to get dubious eviction orders and said his government will not condone such practices.
Ona ya pania unakwenda kule unatoa group kidogo kwa mfanyiji tajari unakwenda kuja na order atini shemeji asia anatoa kwenye shamba pale na nguvu hao watu ni wezi na wale mahakama wasaidia vile ni wahalifu.
Raila was accompanied by several leaders including Siaya Senator James Orengo, Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui and his Machakos counterpart Alfred Mutua, who said those opposing Raila's candidature for the presidency lack policies that will uplift the country's economy. Odinga also received a number of defectors from other parties, including Gideon Mungaro and Coast Development Authority Chairman Philip Charo, who were members of the Jubilee Party.
Ukiona wakati Raila Amolo Odinga
kama wanazurura huku baada ya kuwafanyia wananchi kazi wanapiga siasa tupu. Lazima tulia kwamba tunalipa mshahara na mshahara wetu tunalipa mpaka 2022 Agosti. Kwa hivyo mimi nikiwa gavana, niambie kiwa gavana, wengine Ruto akiwa deputy president, lazima pia aende kwa ofisi afanye kazi, afanyie wananchi kazi kisha wanalipa mshahara.
Meanwhile, Deputy President William Ruto drummed up support for the bottom-up economic model in Meru County, saying his government will finance the small and medium-sized enterprises that drive the country's economy.
80% ya biashara yote inafanywa na micro, small and medium enterprise. Na hawa watu hawana security, hawana title deed. Lazima tuweke pesa ya serikali hazina maalum ya kusaidia hawa wafanyabiashara wadogo wainue biashara yao.
Ruto also pledged to ensure full realization of the Big Four agenda if elected president, accusing ODM leader Raila Odinga of disrupting Jubilee's development agenda. He at the same time accused governors in the Mount Kenya region of forcing people to support Odinga's presidential bid.
Yani sisi watu tumejipanga, tumeunda serikali mara mbili, tumefanya maendeleo hii yote. Ati kuna mtu anatuambia ati all of a sudden tumekuwa wajinga. Ati kati yetu watu milioni 8 tumekosa mtu ya kutuongoza. Ati tuende tuletewe mtu ya kitendawili, mtu ya kung'oa reli, mtu ya kutupa mawe, mtu ya kuvunja chama. Ati atuongoze sisi? Hapana. Hawa kina hitu wawache kutuchezea.
Ruto is expected to tour parts of Igembe and Tigania in his second day of his visit in Meru on Tuesday. For Hope TV News Watch, I'm Alice Diana.
Well, that report from Alice Diana takes us to a short commercial break on News Watch. We'll be back with more stories. Do stay with us.
Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship, only on Extended Worship.
Dad! Gari mpya!
Umetoa wapi gari mpya?
Optiven wametusort.
Optiven?
Nunua any of our value-added properties ama redeem installment ya property yako. Kwa kila malipo ya 10,000 unapata 1 entry point kwenye draw ya Furahia na Optiven promotion. Airtime kushindaniwa kila siku, holiday kila wiki, shinda ploti na gari kila mwezi, na grand prize ya Mercedes-Benz C180. Ni rahisi, buy ama redeem na ushinde na Furahia na Optiven.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back to News Watch. President Uhuru Kenyatta has led Kenyans in wishing former President Mwai Kibaki a happy birthday as he turned 90 on Monday. Kibaki's family, leaders and Kenyans took to social media to wish the retired president good health, appreciated him for his work while he served as the third president. As Dickens Livanda reports, Kibaki is remembered not only for growing Kenya's economy, but also his commitment to expanding the country's infrastructure during his tenure.
Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki, Kenya's third president who served 2 terms from December 2002 until April 2013, celebrated his 90th birthday on Monday after he was born in 1931. President Uhuru Kenyatta, through State House, led the country in celebrating him, with several leaders and Kenyans taking to social media platforms to celebrate Kibaki, who also served as the 4th Vice President of Kenya for 10 years from 1978 to 1988 under President Daniel Arap Moi's regime.
Kiwa unataka fujo, ndio tokea, tunataka kukuona. Lazima wa kila mtu, hakuna, hatutaki kuogopa yeyote. Yeyote ambaye hataki maendeleo mazuri, awe anataka kujenga Kenya yake, hiyo tutafuata na yeye atawacha tu.
As former President Mwai Kibaki turned 90, family members, leaders and locals of his Othaya home in Nyeri County urged President Kenyatta and his probable successors to emulate his work ethic.
I'll revive most of the state corporations kama KMC.
Lisaidia kwa wazazi kutolipa school fees ya primary na kuendelesha nchi ya taifa ya Kenya. So tunazidi kumwombea
kwa sababu ya kuondoa duty kwa mambo ya kwa pikipiki, na ilifanya pikipiki zikaingia Kenya mingi na imepatia vijana wengi kazi sana.
Elimu ni ya bure. Ilisaidia sana ambao watoto wale ambao hawakuweza kwenda shule ama hawakuwa wanaenda shule.
Kibaki alikuwa president mzuri. Alituonyesha vile tunaweza kufanya maendeleo yetu hapa sisi wenyewe.
In this year's Mashujaa Day feat in Kirinyaga County, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga said Kibaki steered Kenya and the economy to great heights, despite the challenges that prevailed at the time, and so he ought to be celebrated.
My hero, the former president, your predecessor, Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki must be celebrated as a hero in this country. When I said Kibaki Tosha, they said no Luo, they said Raila is finished politically. No Luo can vote for a Kikuyu because of what happened to Tom Mboya and Jaramogi. And Kibaki was a son of Jaramogi, who took him from Makerere and brought him to Kenya and made him the chief of executive officer of KANU.
Kibaki is the last born in a family of 8, but only he and his sister Esau Terero are alive.
We enacted a new constitution.
Apart from introducing free primary education, Kenyans often remember Kibaki with his humor whenever he addressed public gatherings. Dickens Livanda, Hope TV News.
Thank you, Dickens Livanda, for that report. Moving on, the High Court in Mombasa has jailed 4 policemen found guilty of the manslaughter of Alexander Manson, the son of a British aristocrat who was found dead in a police cell in the beach town of Diani in 2012. The officers were sentenced on Monday by Justice Eric Ogola. They include Naftali Shege, Charles Munyiri, Ismail Baraka, and John Pamba. They will all serve between 9 and 15 years. The judge who issued varied sentences said the terms have been based on the accused person's individual responsibility in the death. Alexander's father, Lord Nicholas Manson, jetted into the country to hear the sentencing and sat throughout the session at the Mombasa Law Courts. A program that has instilled a reading culture and imparted English language to learners as a medium of communication is reportedly gaining traction at Nyamache Sub-County Primary School. The program that was initiated 4 years ago at Inani Primary School, dubbed Boosting and Energizing Read Baby and Read, benefited the learners from PP1 to 2 and Grade 1 onwards. KCA University Deputy Vice Chancellor Professor Joshua Bagaka has cited biblical and scholarly reasons for establishing the non-examinable program within the current school curriculum.
The Read Baby Read has brought about good grades. The performance has been realized in all the classes because they can be able to read, understand, and answer certain questions. There is also development of traditional culture of reading in our school. And this one has been realized due to the fact that we normally have our programs during Thursday whereby the pupils read. So good reading culture has been developed in our school.
I'm happy and I want to thank Professor and then to extend this to other institutions around. I would only request Professor to construct a good library where the local community can come here and read over the weekend.
This Read Baby Read, which talks about the repetition. It is not where you read once, but read, read, read. And so we are actually telling teachers and the parents, give children opportunities to read as frequently as possible. Because if they do that, they actually become more proficient. And as they become more proficient in reading English, then they do better in these other subjects like science, like history, and all others. We are in the process of trying to get the grant so we can actually roll it to at least in phase 1 to 5 counties. Kisii County being one of them, and 4 other counties. 2 of those we have decided will be one of the marginalized.
In all, the government has been challenged to upgrade learning institutions in the banditry-prone areas of Laikipia County to help keep students in school. Education stakeholders in Olmoran area have said that the government should invest more on boarding schools to help keep learners in school. Speaking during the commissioning of boys' dormitory at Olmoran High School, the school's BOG chair, Edwin Omondi, regretted that students from the school had been forced to trek for over 50 kilometers to school due to lack of boarding facilities at the school, which is one of the major secondary schools in the area. He said that the recent flare-ups that were witnessed in the area had forced many learners to drop out of schools, saying that dormitories could have helped keep them in school.
Wanafunzi wengi katika shule hii ya Olmoran, wengine wanatoka hata kilomita 50 ili wafike shule. So tukaona ni vizuri tuanzishe bweni hilo ili wawe wakilala, wapunguze uchovu na vile vile wapunguze hatari zilizoko wakielekea manyumbani. Faida ambayo tunaona itakuwa hapa Olmoran, tungependa pia kutilia mkazo ama kuomba serikali ifikirie jambo hilo kwa shule ambazo ni jirani. Tuko na Save, tuko na Gedhima, tuko na zingine upande ule wa Rumuruti. Ikiwa mabweni yanaweza kujengwa kwenye mashule hayo, bila shaka hawa watoto wa wafugaji wataweza kushughulikia masomo yao kwa njia inayofaa.
Ni vijana wametoka kwa jamii za kuhamahama na wengine nyumba zao zilichomwa. Kwa sasa watakuwa wanaweza kusoma vizuri ndani la shule.
Bweni hili limejengwa kwa msaada wa wafadhili na Wizara ya Elimu ili kuweza kuwapatia vijana mazingira bora ya kusoma. Mazingira bora kwa njia ya kwamba watakuwa na muda wa kutosha na usalama wa kutosha. Wale ambao kidogo ni wa kufuga na kuhama wako katika gatuzi ndogo ya Laikipia ya kaskazini. Na sisi changamoto kubwa vile kwa sababu bado wao hufika kwa shule kusoma. Lakini kuna mpango wa chakula kupitia serikali kuu ya kuwapatia hawa ambao uhama na kurudi ili waweze kusoma.
The Kenya Human Rights Commission has launched a national report on how public funds are mismanaged during emergencies and pandemics in the country. The aim of the launch was to share the findings and recommendations from the studies conducted by KHCR, where it examined the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the mismanagement of public funds and how it's linked to politics in Kenya. The study also sought to demonstrate the need for deeper political discussions aimed at promoting effective and efficient public finance management in Kenya beyond COVID-19.
What we are seeing is that more resources are going to this infrastructural development as opposed to what tunaita softwares, kama maybe kununua madawa, kuandika walimu kazi, na pale kuna interest ya kwamba mtu angependa kuangalia katika ile bajeti. Tumeona katika national government na pia katika hizi CIDPs za counties, inaitwa County Integrated Development Plan, kumekuwa na budgeted corruption. Utapata watasema labda pesa hizi tutaweka katika kujenga nyumba fulani, lakini hiyo nyumba labda sio ya kumsaidia yule mwananchi wa pale chini. Zinawekwa so that hizi tenders zipate kupeanwa kwa watu wao ama wale government officials. At the end of the day ni kuwa benefit wale wenyewe. So what I'm trying to say here is that from our findings, hii mismanagement of public resources, it's systemic, imeplaniwa with those people in power.
We have disaster money ambayo inatoka katika National Assembly letu, inakuja kwa mwananchi wa chini kabisa, yule ambaye amedhorofika na yule mwananchi ambaye ameshindwa kuwa na mapato mema. Pia hiyo ni njia moja ya kushughulikia Kenya Women's Right, kushughulikia kuangalia hizo pesa zetu zimetumika vizuri, na sisi kama waheshimiwa tumeweza kufuatilia hizo pesa, tukatia maanani kuona pesa zetu katika kaunti yetu ya Kakamega zinatumika vizuri ama la.
And Coast Diabetes, a Mombasa-based diabetes support group, is now calling for diet and lifestyle changes to beat the disease. The group has expressed concern over the rise in new diabetes cases at the coast, terming it a ticking time bomb. Diabetes is classified into type 1, which is autoimmune and therefore unpreventable, and type 2, which can often be prevented by pursuing a healthy lifestyle. In a move to encourage patients, group leader Lynette Mavu said the disease does not mean a death sentence and can be managed and reversed through healthy living. She spoke at the Mamangina Waterfront Park in Mombasa during a sensitization event to mark the World Diabetes Day on Sunday, meant to raise awareness on the growing disease burden.
Katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, kulingana na utafiti ambao umefanywa, ni kwamba around 4% ya watu wamekuwa diagnosed na diabetes, na ukicalculate 4% of 40 million, around 40 million, hao ni watu wengi sana. Worldwide wanasema kwamba one person dies every 5 seconds of diabetes and related diseases. Na hizi related diseases ni kama heart disease, kama kidney failure, kama heart attack, na mambo kama hayo ambayo yanaletwa na ugonjwa huu wa kisukari. Changamoto nyingi tunazipitia, hasa sisi ambao tuko na diabetes. Kitu cha kwanza ni kwamba ni dawa. Dawa za diabetes ziko very expensive, ziko ghali sana. Kwa mfano, kuna dawa moja unaweza pata tablet moja ni 125 shillings na unatakiwa ukunywe mara 2. That means 250 shillings per day. Kweli ni watu wangapi wanaweza afford shilingi 500 kwa siku? And we are saying 4 out of 5 people with diabetes cannot afford diabetes medication, because medication ya diabetes ni very expensive. Wengi wetu hapa averagely wanatumia 20,000 kwa dawa za diabetes per month. Na ni vile labda wengine wako kazini, na ndio maana tulianzisha hiki kikundi tukaja pamoja ili tuweze kusaidiana. Kuna wengine wanakosa dawa, tunachangiana. Kuna wengine wanakufa moyo, tunapeana moyo. Kila mwezi tunakutana, tuangalie tu ni vipi tunaweza kusaidiana sote tuweze kufight diabetes, because our motto is we must defeat diabetes. So wetu kwa serikali ni kwamba tunataka watengeneze policies ambazo zinaweza kufanya kila mmoja access dawa ya diabetes. Kama vile serikali yetu ilivyochangamkia wakati wa HIV, mpaka ikafikia mahali ambapo watu ambao wameathirika wanaweza kupata dawa for free.
Let's look at what is happening internationally. Son of former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi has now registered to vie for presidency in the general election to be held in December this year. According to the Electoral Commission, Said al-Islam Gaddafi has filed his candidacy for the presidential election and has completed and achieved all legal requirements to run for presidency. Meanwhile, Libya's military prosecutor Mohamed Garouda has asked the electoral body to halt processing the paperwork for the presidential candidacy of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, the son of the country's late ruler Muammar Gaddafi. The prosecutor also asked that the paperwork for Khalifa Haftar, who is also seeking the presidency, be suspended. In a letter, the military Attorney General's office said that Saif Islam and Khalifa Haftar have been accused of criminal acts and that their presidential bids must be halted. The registration of Gaddafi's candidacy, although expected, has jolted people in Libya and abroad for his role in the brutal crackdown of the uprising against his father's rule.
Survival is a natural instinct. Do we eat to live, or do we live to eat?
We go through so many problems because sometimes when you go fishing, our boats get broken. So the rescue has to come and save you from drowning. Also, sometimes we experience storms, which makes us come without any fish.
At Dunga Beach, they depend on you to eat fish for them to live, scouring for fish in the ever-dwindling supply of Lake Victoria. Slowly, the future of fish in the lake is dimming, and so is the future of the fishermen. Catch A Fishy Lifestyle, a story by Dolly Murigi, this Tuesday at 9 p.m. only on Hope TV.
Our Christian life is not just about God always stepping in when you are in trouble. But sometimes you need to go through the valley of the shadow of death, and God will say, angels, stand away. He must go through that. She must go through that. Because out of this would come something greater and more beautiful.
Let's continue with business news. The Konza Technopolis Development Authority, KTDA, has embarked on a series of engagements with the TD Jakes Foundation in a move that will see the authority tap into a global partnership network that will propel the Technopolis forward. Speaking shortly after the inaugural meeting, KTDA Chief Executive Officer, Engineer John Tanui, termed the engagement as successful, saying it marked the start of the building of a deeper relationship between the authority and the TD Jakes Foundation.
When we first launched the foundation 2 years ago, we interviewed about 300 CEOs in the STEAM and STEM world. And we asked them specifically what did they need, and they talked about exposure. So when we heard that today, we thought, oh, there it is again, right? We need exposure. The best way to do that is through the arts. He's an entertainment executive. He's a film producer. So he can get the message out. He can put a documentary in place quickly to have people to know about not only Kenya, but Konza specifically, and this amazing work, and let people live the buildings coming up out of the ground, make that alive, that people can see it and touch it. And I mean, we talked about Dubai. Our passion to go with Dubai was because we saw it coming up out of the ground and no one could believe that was possible. Why can't we create that same story here? That becomes the question. Why can't we do that? And I think that we can. And that's what I heard Bishop Jakes said, we can do that.
We need to build a relationship, deepen our engagement, and Bishop Checks recommended that we should probably consider having meetings quarterly, and that's what we are looking forward to ensure we have a quarterly engagement. And through this quarterly engagement, we will deepen our relationship. And these opportunities which Bishop T.D. Checks mentioned, issues like investment in real estate, issues of technology, and also he gave us very good suggestions on how can we attract more investment. What reasons can we give people to come to Kenya? What reasons can we give to people to invest in Concert Technopolis?
Indigenous chain of hotels Pride Inn has welcomed the Glasgow Declaration on Climate Action in Tourism, terming it as a pivotal step in aligning the tourism sector on UN's Race to Zero campaign's goal of halving less emissions by 2030 and achieving net zero by 2050 at the latest. The hotel group has announced that it has embraced the Glasgow Declaration, recognizing the urgent need for a globally consistent plan for climate action in tourism. On 4th November, the Glasgow Declaration on Climate Action in Tourism was launched and has been described as the travel industry's boldest move towards climate accountability.
The Glasgow Declaration is one of the most important actions that governments, hospitality and tourism industry players need to embrace. It now calls for tourism operators to reset operations to make them more environmentally sustainable. Climate change mitigation must be at the heart of a responsible recovery of the tourism sector, as the resilience of tourism will depend on the sector's ability to balance the needs of people, planet, and prosperity. Some of the initiatives we as Pride Inn Hotels and Resorts have in place is to mitigate the climate change. For instance, is doing away with single-use plastics, beach cleaning and conservation, and working closely with KWS in marine conservation on our coastline by hatching sea turtles on our beachfront. Therefore, accelerating climate action in tourism is of utmost importance for the resilience of the sector.
And Safaricom Foundation has rallied partners from the government, public and private sectors to invest in prevention and management of non-communicable diseases in the fight against type 1 diabetes, with the main focus on children. In a forum that brought together the Ministry of Health, Kenya Diabetes Management and Information Center, DMI Kenya, and Gold Star Kenya, early detection and early screening of diabetes in children, as well as creating awareness in children on healthy lifestyle habits, were identified as key areas of investment.
It is estimated that close to 500,000 Kenyans are living with diabetes, 60% of whom are unaware of their condition. We're working with partners such as Kenya Diabetes Management and Information Center, DMI, to organize medical camps where early screening and diagnosis as well as medical care is carried out. I'm positive that this forum will enable us to come up with solutions that will lead us to our end goal, which is a healthy and a prosperous nation.
Safaricom Foundation has a strategy which includes reduction, early diagnosis and reduction of non-communicable diseases in the country, in Kenya. And in its own focus, Safaricom Foundation has chosen to look after early diagnosis and management of childhood diabetes, which is otherwise what we call type 1 diabetes, which is something that affects children and has no specific cause. It's not been very well understood in terms of the causative factors. And therefore, these children would normally die without a diagnosis. And what Safaricom Foundation is doing, and starting with Garissa County, is to work with the public sector and we work with other partners like the Diabetic Management Institute to ensure that a program is put in place for early diagnosis and treatment and care of children who live with childhood diabetes.
We need to do a lot of work. We need to create a lot of awareness. We need to work together as partners, and I'm glad Safaricom is one of our key partners when it comes to diabetes management, creation of awareness.
And to some sports news now, Kenya ended their campaign on a high note with a 2-1 win over Rwanda in a CAF second round 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifying match at Nyayo National Stadium on Monday afternoon. The Harambee Stars had been winless in the campaign leading into the match in Nairobi, but made sure to end on a high with a hard-fought victory over their East African rivals. Victory moved Kenya up to 6 points from 6 matches, 10 points behind runaway Group E winners Mali and 3 points adrift of second-placed Uganda. Rwanda ended the qualifiers winless, having accumulated only 1 point from their allotted fixtures. Kenya opened the scoring within the opening 2 minutes of the encounter as Michael Olunga built on his scoring form. The touring forward hit the back of the net for his third goal of the group stage campaign and second against Rwanda in as many matches this year. Richard Odada doubled the hosts' lead from the penalty spot in the 15th minute to hand Kenya a comfortable lead at the interval. And 11-year-old Yuvraj Rajput and Guraj Singh sealed the KCB Kenya National Autocross Championship Series titles after scoring unassailable points tally during the penultimate stage in Kiambu's twisty corners racetrack over the weekend. Yuvraj, son of rally driver Kirit Rajput, suffered his second career title in Bambino class after winning the 9th round ahead of his opponent Karamveer Rapurai. He powered his 500cc Majiberg to victory, clocking 6.5637 minutes in the best of 3 heat classification.
Very happy. I did this for my great grandma. Yeah, and been a very challenging year with the COVID and everything, but we managed to make it. I want to thank KCB for making all these events possible, and my dad's company Do Myself for sponsoring all our races. The competition is just, how do I say this? How do I put this in words? It's challenging. Sometimes it's an easy day, sometimes it can be hard, and sometimes it could be very hard. Listen to the advice everyone has been giving me. Keep it clean, and yeah, just overall keep it clean and fast. There's been a good day and bad days. I think today was a good day. We recently just fixed our pots because we had a breakdown in Jamhuri. My engine froze, so we had to buy new parts and everything. But yeah, overall it's been good. It's been very loose, downhill and uphill. It's just everything you don't want a track to be. The most challenging track. I'm looking forward to being a 1,500cc manual buggy, improve, and try to beat my dad's times.
Well, that story there brings us to the end of this live broadcast of News Watch. Many thanks for staying with us. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time. My name is Tony Omondi and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Murithi. Have a good night.